Good, comfortable. Good.
Getting there. Getting there.
Yeah, man, it's all right. Yeah, we on. Getting everything set up. All right, all right. We on. We on. All right, all right.
Check, check, check.
Yeah, we on. We on. Test, test. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another week of A Long Way from Sunday. I am Pastor John Cotton, JC, whatever you want to call me. I am joined by none other than
Tony Cole, a.k.a. Little Big Man, a.k.a. the Fluffy Crumper.
Yeah, man. And we right here. We back in November. Back at it. Yeah, man.
November.
It's wild, bro. Like, I can't believe this much of the year is gone already, but when it sucks, I guess time goes kind of fast. You don't really have a lot to mark off your calendar, so every day looks the same.
That's crazy. We're in November, man.
Bro, I could not believe it, man. It was like, the election stuff was coming up, and then, obviously Halloween and everything with the kids wanting to go trick-or-treating and everything, and they just got the short end of the stick this year.
Man,
like, they just had to go to trunks.
Nothing.
They didn't go to no houses. They went to trunks. They went to the back of people's cars.
Didn't even do that. They just had homemade parties.
Oh, yeah, just go to the store and get that 4 for $4 movie theater candy.
Yep.
And you have your own party.
Hit up the Dollar Tree.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to tell you, man, the end result is the same anyway. You just going to get a little sugar high. That's all.
That's it.
So that's all they want anyway. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us. Of course, we want you to subscribe via Facebook. IDC is here, or you can also subscribe on YouTube as well to follow us to see what's going on. At some point, we're going to have additional content that we're going to open up, and also we're going to be opening up our merch store pretty soon. I got one of the shirts that we sell, through the merch store. I got a couple of them also inspired by Tony Cole.
Yes.
So we appreciate everybody's support. We also would like your patronage when it comes down to supporting the other endeavors that we got going on. We're going to be alternating and getting some other people coming in and out. It's going to be a lot of fun things that's going on throughout the year. So we definitely want to thank you for sticking with us, those that have been rocking with us all the way from episode 1 through the stumbles, fumbles, and getting our bearings. I think we're starting to get into the groove now.
We are.
We starting our way. We finding our groove. I mean, like I said, we've always had a solid chemistry.
Right.
Even my boy Vic, we're going to be alternating as well. We have a solid chemistry, but, sometimes it's so many ideas that you want to talk about and so many things that you want to jump on. It takes a while for me, my mind, man, I got to actually narrow it down and get a little more funnel vision going on. So I think we now getting that niche.
Right.
We're getting into that groove. Our image is missing, but we'll work on that, at another time. Sometimes technology be failing.
Right. You know what the name of the show is. You got to see the picture.
Yeah. You have the thing at the beginning that kind of clicked it in.
Exactly.
But yeah, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to kick it off tonight, of course, with the topic. But I wanted to do something a little fun because I was thinking the other day. I was at a restaurant, man, and I had like a horrible experience. We've talked about this before. Like sometimes, man, you don't know why people have the job that they have because they are big trash.
Yeah.
They just seem like everything that could go wrong before they got to work went wrong, and they're taking it out on your order. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever had happened at home, they waited till they got to work just to take it out on you as a customer. And so I beg this question to you, man. And I would like to know other people, too, that are tuning in, in the comment section. Let us know what you think. But I thought about a new segment, man, that we're going to call This or That.
This or that.
This or that.
You can get with this or you can get with that.
Hey.
You can get with this, but this is where it's set. I like that.
Just when you started getting into it. Yeah, man. I was just getting ready
I
to
had
get
to
my
make
beatbox
sure I
going on.
remember the lyrics because that's a song from the 90s.
Yeah,
so.
you stopped kind of short, but it's all good. I was just getting ready.
I wasn't confident in the lyrics. I'm like, let me cut this off.
Yeah, you did it good because I feel you was going to fumble some stuff.
Yeah, I was.
But, so I have this question for you, and then I'll weigh in after you do.
Okay.
Would you rather take this, which is an excellent behavior, like a person with a good attitude and a very pleasant server that gets your order wrong, or would you rather a rude server that gets your order perfect?
That's hard because you don't want either one. But
let me just set the preference on that, okay? Because I know that's the first thing everybody want to do. Well, neither one. I wouldn't take. Okay, you have to pick one.
But I got to pick one.
All right, you got to pick one. All right, because very rarely do you get an excellent server that gets your order right, or a trash. Well, no, that's more common. A trash server that gets your order wrong too. We see that a lot at fast food.
Right.
But anyway, those are the two. So, would you rather a nice, pleasant person that gets your order wrong, or would you rather a rude person that gets your order perfect?
I'm going to have to go with rude person that gets my order perfect, and here's the reason why.
Yeah.
I only have to deal with them for a very small amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to come, greet me, bring me my food, and then going about their way. So I'd rather have a rude, small experience and have some good food than to have great service and then trash food.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I take the rude server because I'm used to that anyway.
Unfortunately,
you know what I'm saying? So
that's kind of the norm.
I can ignore that, but I want the food to be on point if it can be.
Got you. Okay, so for me, I'm gonna take the opposing view.
Oh, okay.
All right. I would rather the pleasant, polite, courteous server that gets my order wrong. And here's why: because I know a lot of people, they're like, "Hey, at the end of the day, as long as my food is right, that's all I really care about." I can send my food back if it's wrong, but I can't send the waiter home, for being rude. So if I got a pleasant server and my order is wrong, I can send my order back and get that corrected. And dare I say, not only will I have a pleasant experience with the server being nice, but I may get a discount or a free meal because they messed my order up.
Most times not, but yep.
I don't know where you eating at, man.
I mean, I guess it depends on where you eating at. Yeah. Anything outside of Chick-fil-A, then I don't.
Marks,
really
but man, you at Chick-fil-A. Let me just say this
really
real quick. All right, so the other week, Anthony went ham about this macaroni and cheese at Chick-fil-A. I mean, he almost held a knife to my throat and told me to go get Chick-fil-A after I got done. So I did go ahead and get the mac and cheese. I went ahead and went there. I ain't gonna hold you. The mac and cheese was fire.
Thank you.
It was very good. Now here's the thing. Okay. It's not to me as good as what we'd have homemade.
No.
But as far as a restaurant is concerned, they are killing the game. On mac and cheese.
Thank you.
I definitely will give them the nod when it comes down to
burnt crust on it.
I did.
Yes.
I did. It did have the burnt. I didn't request
signature.
it. It just came in there.
It's gonna come like that.
Yeah. I think that they heat the cheese up separate and put it on after.
I'm telling you, man, it is an old church mother in the back making that macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, but even at home, you fight for that burnt corner. So it's how do a franchise or a chain restaurant get a piece of burnt cheese in each bowl? Like, I'm telling you, they're heating that cheese up separate and just putting it on top.
They probably are.
They ain't getting that out the pan.
Right.
There's no way. All right. I'm not believing that. I do agree that probably there's a Mabel or Ernestine that's in the kitchen that's holding it down. But even they using that microwave to heat the cheese up and then put it on top of that. Yeah. Whoever. Yeah, Henrietta fit better. That sounds like a macaroni and cheese maker. That sounds like somebody that can make some fire macaroni and cheese. Right. But yeah, I think that as far as restaurants go, I give them the nod.
I'm glad you finally
it was
got
fire,
a chance
man.
to get it, and that you see what I was saying.
I do.
And you went to the one on what? I'm assuming 124th.
I did go to the one on 124th. Yeah, I did not go to the other ones because I know sometimes the one on 124th get a bad rap. Right. Everybody don't always feel that one. Honestly, it was straight. It was solid. I mean, so I would imagine that maybe it'd be even better if I went to one of the other ones.
It's gonna be.
That'd be pretty fire. That's cool. I appreciate that. But yeah, back to my original thing, man. That's what I would prefer. The courteous person. For me, man, I've always been kind of a will versus skill person. Okay. So for me, and maybe that's why I'm a little biased in that aspect, because I always feel like, attitudes and stuff like that are a lot harder to overcome than the ability to do a job. And so it's like if you got a negative disposition or you angry and bitter and all this other stuff like that, I'm not saying that you can't, be courteous or be good, but it's a lot harder to strike somebody's emotions and change their day than it is for somebody to learn how to do a job correctly. Right. So for me, I'm like, I would rather veer on the side of, okay, I can deal with your personality and then we can, work on your skill level as we get through the trenches. And that's for me, that's like kind of with anything, man. Like even with some of the different stuff with, musician stuff and artist stuff. Sometimes I veer more on the side of somebody that has not all the time, because sometimes, you just can't buy, the talent or the skill. But overall, I think even on that aspect, I kind of sometimes veer towards the will versus skill mentality. That's not always the case, but in this particular situation, I would say the attitude is more important to me than the food. Because like I said, I can haggle about the food. Right. If the food ain't right or whatever like that, but I can't haggle about your attitude. And we been got an argument, you been licked my food, or I don't know what's going on back there.
They're probably gonna do that anyway once you send it back. But I'm glad you think like that.
Oh, yeah, I do think like that because, I'm being courteous, too. It ain't like I'm being rude, like you messed up my order, you know what I'm saying? I'm being courteous, so I'm matching their energy, what I mean? They ain't got nothing to do with the cook. Well, I think we mess up sometimes thinking that the server is the cook. And maybe that's sometimes where we're a little bit slanted, because ultimately, as nice as the interaction can be between you and the server, if the cook is having a bad day, they're going to kind of do whatever to your food. I'm making myself not want to go to restaurants anymore.
Right, you think about all the things
that
people can do to your food. Yeah. But that's why you got to pray over your food.
Man, yeah.
Pray over your food. Yeah. Take all that away.
Say your grace.
God is like sanitizer for food when you say your grace.
There's a word there.
Yes.
Sanitizer for food. He's the ultimate sanitizer.
Say your grace. That is sanitizer for your food.
That's good. That's good. Well, on that note, man, I think we're going to jump into the topic for tonight.
Yes.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, man. I think we've been having some good topics and subject matter. You know, we do again invite people to be able to, give feedback, give ideas. I mean, keep it pleasant, keep it nice, keep it positive. But if there's suggestions or ideas, topic matters. But got a couple of suggestions in regards to more interaction. So we're working on that. We're a little bit limited as far as staff and technology, but as we get a little bit further along, we'll make sure we have that, make it more interactive. Right. We can actually answer questions in real time, whatever have you. We can see stuff coming in real time. So we also need your support. We're doing that though. So we do need, if you can and if you're willing to support the movement. You know what I mean? So you can send the Cash App, the IDC Givelify, International Deliverance Center. We appreciate any and everything. No seed is too small. We're trying to build something and make more content and make this a bigger platform. Right. So we do appreciate in advance anybody that is willing to and able to send that support. But tonight,
let's get into it.
We are jumping into the topic that we kind of piggybacked off of on the last episode at the tail end of it, which is don't believe the hype. 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 Yo, yes. I can't tell you how many times in life that you get so frustrated when things are overpromised and underdelivered.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the norm, and it kind of actually ties in a little bit from the mediocrity thing too. So this is kind of like part 2 of applauding mediocrity to me. Right. To don't believe the hype, because a lot of stuff is gassed up based on that person's perspective or, that little small audience or fan base. And if you're not careful, you will end up trying to put out a product or send off a vibe that's mediocre, and try to gas it up like it's something that is not. And then when you hear it or you see it or you taste it, whatever it is that you're partaking in, you're like, man, this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Like just as an example with the Chick-fil-A thing, I would have been in my feelings if I did all of that and you gassed it all up. Right. And then I went and I was like, man, this is subpar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the good thing is that it wasn't an issue where it was actually something that was just told. It was actually something you experienced, and dare I say, you were right about it.
Right.
It was valid.
Also, it depends on the source. Yeah. Your source is very important when it comes to hyping stuff up, because most people hype stuff up, and you can't really trust them because they're not the best at, knowing what's good and what's not. You done had that experience. People, man, this is great, and then you get it. It was like, this is terrible. But you know me, and I know you, and I know what type of food you like and what type of food you eat.
I know what I like.
Right.
And I know you know what I like because you're trying to know what I like. But I would like to know what you like.
I'm a credible person when it comes to hyping up most things.
Right.
Because you know that, okay, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and you be sampling. You like the Milwaukee sampler.
A lot. But that's how you kind of got to find out what you like. You can't always have the same thing. Sometimes you're going to, get something that's not good.
Yeah, that's true.
I tell my wife this all the time. Like, you should try different stuff to see what you really like.
Yeah.
Because I know you like this because this is what you've always got. But try something else because you may discover you like this.
That's true.
She tried it, like Chick-fil-A. I hate to keep talking about Chick-fil-A.
Man, you working on a sponsorship that I don't know about with Chick-fil-A? You can come in with a Chick-fil-a jacket on next week. I'm gonna be like, bro, where you get that from?
I'm gonna have a jacket. No, but she always get Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah.
Like she get like 30 of them.
Dang.
I don't understand it. I don't know why you gotta have so many sauces.
All right.
But
one for each fry.
I like to try the different flavor sauces.
Yeah.
So I was going with the Polynesian. And the Polynesian
I was going to ask about
was
that
pretty good.
Yeah.
But then I said, let me try this sweet and spicy sriracha, and I got it by accident.
Okay.
Somebody put it in a bag, and maybe they thought it was something else. And I said, well, let me try it.
Yeah.
And I discovered that that's my sauce now.
Oh, word.
And
so it done bumped Chick-fil-A sauce. It done bumped Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah, man, I get Chick-fil-A sauce still. Yeah. But if I have a preference, I'm going to get sweet and spicy sriracha. Because he's going to give you everything you want. You get the sweet, you get the spicy, and it's not overbearing.
Okay.
So I asked her to try it, and she wouldn't.
Sweet and spicy
and then eventually she did, and now that's her sauce. But that's the point. Sometimes you just got to step out the comfort zone and try some different stuff.
And that's true, man. I like what you said. I'm just taking it back a little bit with the source, the audience of where it's coming from, because we've talked about this at times length, and we see it a lot of times even to the entertainment arena, right? We see like critics that don't know our culture, don't know our movies, but they're giving it bad ratings. Right. But then it comes into our households and it becomes a cult classic.
Right.
It becomes stuff that we still to this day will quote hands in. You go to any kind of house party or family reunion or family gathering, like whatever, even if you put up a post right now saying a line, you have 20 people before you're done quoting the rest of that movie.
Right.
You know, and these are movies that have done terrible, you know, in Hollywood or in the cinema industry, right? Because there are people that are critiquing it that don't understand the culture.
Right.
You know, they don't understand the message that's behind it or the relatability behind it. And that's what I learned a long time ago, man, not to jump on the bandwagon with stuff, man. I'm a person that I got to see it or do it for myself, man. You know, and a lot of times, you know, people, they will live in fear almost from doing stuff just because they feel like, okay, well, enough people are saying no. And that's not to say that that's not a good thing sometimes. But when there are things that you can learn and expand in as far as experiences, man, you sometimes have to be able to say, okay, hey, I'm going to actually give this a shot or give this a try, not because everybody else is saying that it's good or bad, but because I need to be able to experience or understand this on my own. And going against the grain, man, is not popular. You know, it's not common, but I've learned, man, in this season and just even for these last few years of my life, man, that, you know, a lot of things are slanted based on, you know, the agendas of people that are higher up, you know, and you can't always be swayed by everything that society and that media and everybody else says is good or bad.
Right.
You know, you got to be able to make an informed opinion, and knowledge is power.
It's
said, but real talk, man, knowledge is power. And it's like a lot of times people don't spend enough time, you know, getting a knowledge of something and applying that, which becomes wisdom. You know, knowledge applied becomes wisdom. And we don't, I think that a lot of the issues that we even face even now can be given to the point that we don't take the time to get to the roots of what something is and actually decipher what it is for ourselves and study it for ourselves and really get to the point of understanding so that we won't be swayed by just the hoopla. You know what I mean? Like, things change, man. It's like stuff that's popular now ain't gonna be popular a minute from now, and things that's popular now wasn't then. You know what I'm saying? What's popping changes
all the time.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like if you don't latch onto something for the fact that you know what it's about, then you're gonna constantly be swayed by any and everything, man. And that's rough.
That's kind of how social media is now because, excuse me, you base everything pretty much off of what you see on your timeline.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna sit up here and say I don't at times as well, but you know, I still have the foresight to say, okay, well, just because everybody else is jumping on it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to jump on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what you see on your timeline a lot of times dictates what you go out for.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? If you get 1 people or 10 people hyping something up and they keep posting about it,
one person,
then naturally you're going to keep like, man, let me check this out. Maybe this is what's going on because everybody keep talking about it.
Right.
And then I have found myself being the opposite. I'll see something on my timeline and keep scrolling. And I'll keep seeing it 10 other times. But if I don't feel like clicking on it because it doesn't interest me and I don't care what everybody else is saying, then I won't do it. It's an individual thing, but you know, I do know that the power of social media does dictate a lot of times what we're gravitating towards.
Absolutely.
And it didn't used to be like that, but that's kind of what it is now.
Yeah. And I think that that's, for me, one of the things that I kind of proactively try to avoid what's the common ground, you know, what's the hype, because more often than not what I've found is that the things that everybody else be gathering around really only be based on what society is saying.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, is it for me? You know what I'm saying? It don't even be for me. So a lot of times, man, I go out of my way, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes just to avoid what everybody else says is hype or what everybody else says. And I appreciate the peculiarity that I operate in. You know what I'm saying? Being weird is all right with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes you find your own lane when you can pull away from the hype long enough. And I think sometimes we deprive ourselves of that. We deprive ourselves from the opportunity to actually be fiercely unique. You know what I'm saying? Because we're trying to blend in. And we even talk about that in church right now with the where do I fit in. We strive so hard for validation from everything and everybody. And the reality is, man, we've been getting big up by compliments, but people that don't even have the power to validate you or to actually say that this is your purpose, like how are you going to tell me what's my purpose or what I'm supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Based on everybody else's opinion, you don't even know me.
Right.
You know, and we see that a lot. Like a lot of times people will dismiss somebody else just because other people don't rock with them.
Right.
Or we'll see, you know what I'm saying? Because they all off on, you got to fit into this or you got to be part of this. And I learned, man, that your validation, man, comes from God and God alone.
Right.
And it also comes from something inside of you and your self-awareness. But
that's what I was just going to say. You got to know yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't know themselves. So they're going to be what everybody else says they are or they should be. Right. But when you know who you are, and when you look in the mirror and you can see yourself and identify yourself, then you ain't gotta go with the gang. You ain't gotta go with what's hype.
Right.
You can be who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that's unfortunately becoming a loss now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People are not striving to be unique anymore. It used to be, you know what I'm saying, people wanted to stand out instead of fit in, but now, that's becoming almost a lost thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about fitting in. What's the hypest, what's the greatest, because this is the vein that everybody's going in.
Yeah.
And that to me is not how I rock.
No.
And it's unfortunate that a lot of people are following that trend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Be who you are, because you are made to be who you are. You are unique. And people, they're losing that. Yeah,
and I agree, man. And I think that, we see that evident in so much, like everything follows something else, man. It's getting to the point where everything is trying to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at all the cars that's on the road. I was like, man, these all look alike. Different manufacturers, everything else is going towards the streamlined design. Phones, you know what I'm saying? Samsung and Apple been at it for years, and the more they change, the more they stay the same.
Right.
And it's just like all of these things are running to this bottleneck of the same thing all the time. And, for me, man, I think that the best thing that I can do is take a look at what my motivations are of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the reason why I say that is because, man, if you don't have the right motivation and the right ambition to pursue what it is, you can easily be swayed by, the hype or by the hoopla or by what everything else and everybody else says. But, it's something to be able to stand even when nobody else does, because I have this mentality right now, man. I feel the only thing that's different between, a crazy person and a genius person is the results. You know what I'm saying? Like people can say that everything is crazy until it works. And then when it works, they're a genius.
Right.
And so it's like, why not take that risk on yourself? To sometimes be like, okay, yeah, this may not be the norm or this may not be what everybody else feels that it should be, but I'm taking a bet on me because this is something that I feel aligned to do. Like this, like even this whole thing, man, this ain't something that I do. I don't even, talk like that really or engage, but this has been like an outlet for me to be able to express and be my genuine self.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, I like humor, man. I like joking around, goofing around, different stuff like that, but people seldom get to see that part. Right. But I was like, you know what, at the end of the day, man, and for me, I'm going to be honest, a lot of it was because in church, like growing up, you sometimes suppress a sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel like you can really be light, you can be fun, you know what I'm saying? Like really engaging or humorous like that. You feel like everything just got to be Bible, that's it. And that's kind of how we come up, and we're groomed that way. So it's like, for me, I was like, man, well, if I'm seeing in this light, then it might impact, people listening to the message. So, yeah, you be all poised and stuff like that. But
you the pastor that don't get up during praise and worship.
Never that. You already know that.
Saying, that's what you thought it was.
Yeah. And I mean, because even with that, I'm definitely not, throwing shade, but I'm like, if the shoe fit, you know what I'm saying? That happens a lot. You hold a certain office or position, it seems like you can no longer be free to do, like worship and praise. Like you come in, everything is deep, and you're in philosophical thought before everything. You can't even engage into the service, and you can't joke around, can't have fun or different stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Why would I continually try to fit into something that I don't want to fit into anyway? Right. And the day you're set free from opinion and from everything else and you really just work on the validation of God is the day that you really realize who you really are.
Right.
And that for me is an eye-opener, and it's something that I've just been so grateful for because, now my creative spark is ignited. So it's like now I want to run and do more. I want to keep this going, build this platform, really start doing something out of this. But also, we talked about like sketches, like different stuff. I don't want to give everything away. But, like stuff coming down the pike with the creatives, and that's something that if you're worried about what any and everybody else is doing and you're worried about what the crowds say, man, you always are going to be persuaded to do something that you may not even want to do. So and you got to be strong enough to stand on your own.
I got a question for you because we talk about don't believe the hype, and we know that a lot of people follow what everybody's hyping up.
Yeah.
So I occasionally fall into that. I'm not going to lie. I don't do it sometimes off the rip.
Right.
But eventually I may do it because I keep seeing it. People keep talking about it.
Yeah.
So my question is, who do you blame when you follow the hype and it's not up to what you thought it was going to be? Do you blame yourself because you knew better and you probably shouldn't have gone in that lane? You should have been who you were? Or do you blame somebody else because why you hyped this up?
That's good. That's good. Me personally, I have a very high level of accountability for myself.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always going to blame myself
right.
in that instance because it's still my choice whether I, ride with this or not.
Right.
And so, I mean, yeah, and I think that's maybe part of the issue that people have is they play the blame game so much that it's like, oh, I don't take no accountability in the fact that, man, I could have said no, but I didn't. Or I could have chose to go a different way, but I didn't. And me, the way my mind is set up and the way the filter works is I'm always thinking, what can I do in this situation to have a better outcome or a different outcome or to make sure that I'm covered in this facet or that facet. And in most cases, I end up having an enjoyable experience because I've thought it out enough and I've held myself accountable to actually be able to say no sometimes. And, man, no is not a bad word.
No, it's not.
We act like it is, but sometimes, man, something is a waste of your time, your effort, your energy. You got to be bold enough to actually say, no, I'm not with that. And I can't blame somebody else for something that can't nobody make me do, anything. Right. So in those instances when something been hyped up, I definitely, now I will say this, it may change my believability towards you in the future. Right. So ultimately I'll feel like it rides on me, but I may not rock with your verifications or your vouching for anymore. Yeah. Because I went off the strength of knowing you, and that's why, man, your word is important. Oh, yeah. And we sometimes compromise the integrity of our word, and that's a big thing for me. I'm like, man, I don't want to say what I will or won't do, and I don't want to vouch for something or someone that at the end of the day don't have the same heart that I got in something or the same mentality I got in something. And I think that we've become very lackadaisical when it comes down to just vouching or validating because either we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings or, this, that, and the other. But, dude, your word is bond. Oh, yeah. Like, for real. Like, when you say that, okay, this is off the strength of, like I said, again, I went off the strength of knowing that you done sampled a little bit of everything. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, because that's the thing too, though. Sometimes you can't speak from something if you haven't had enough of an experience to be able to say, okay, this is what it is. Right. If you only had two people's mac and cheese, I really can't vouch for you because you're comparing it to really nothing. But you know what I'm saying? But if you done been around the block and you've been out in these mac and cheese streets, you know what I'm saying? And you like, okay, this is the one. Right. Then okay, I can rock with what you're saying a little more because you have the experience to be able to say it. And opinions are cheap, but experience is priceless. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I rock with that's another shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, opinions are cheap, man. Like, people throw opinions out like nothing. But experience is priceless, man. Experience is that thing that builds you up and allows you to keep not only evolving, but learning, growing, developing, and also being able to share it with somebody else. And it's got to be priceless because my experience has to have no end to the people I'm willing to share it with, right? So, man, opinions, people, man, they freely give opinions about stuff that have nothing to do, which is why, again, was saying what I was saying about the validation thing. People's opinions are little to nothing to me. I worry little about people's opinions because my thing is, okay, what gives you the right to speak from this perspective? What have you done or encountered that, has actually given you the authority to speak from this area? It's not just because everybody else said it. I want to know how you came to this conclusion. What it is in your life that made this an actual fact or made this something at least that you can share with me. Because if that hasn't been your experience, then how can I really believe the validity of what you're saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense.
I think there's also things such as good hype. You know what I'm saying? In this situation, that could be one of them. I hyped up something. You went with it based on my hypeness, and it turned out good. Yeah. So I don't want people to think that all hype is bad, because all hype isn't bad. It depends on your personal experience, obviously. But I think the point that we're trying to make is don't get so caught up in what everybody else is hyping up that you just run to it. Right. And you only run into it because everybody else is doing it or talking about it. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Have enough decency to say, okay, for me, is this something I really want, or is this something I'm just going to because everybody else is going to it or talking about it? So just be able to, you know what I'm saying, if you're going to believe the hype because you want it to, not because everybody else is doing it. So, I don't want people to think that we're anti-hype. Because, like I said, some hype is good. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you try new things and, find new things out based on somebody else telling you about it and hyping it up a little bit. But at the same time, in some experiences, we go to things based on hype, and it don't turn out to be what you thought it
and I guess that's the thing. For me, it's like, okay, do your research. Right. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, because, some things, there's a difference between hype and advertisement and excitability. Right. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, when I say don't believe the hype, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is somebody that does not have the experience, somebody that does not have the encounter, somebody that doesn't, have all of that, and they're just talking because somebody else did.
Exactly.
So to me, it's like the equivalent of somebody going up a timeline and just because it's they don't even know what the message is about, but they sharing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's to me is what believing the hype is. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, yeah, this person I trust, so I'm just going to share it, but you don't even know what the content is.
Right.
And sometimes you got to vet stuff a little bit more. You got to actually get to the source of what something is. And that's all I'm saying, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, before just running along with something, do a little bit of reconnaissance, find out what's actually to it, find out what it's actually about, find out if it's something that's actually a hindrance or a help to my life. And we take inventory of so much stuff that we end up stockpiling all of this useless stuff that takes up space, and then we get to the point where it's exhausting to clear that out and learn more stuff that's actually valuable to our life. And so, we've all had experiences where, we fell into the hype train. Right. Nobody is immune to it.
Right.
And sometimes it's worked out, as you said, as a benefit. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's been to the point where you're like, oh, man, I'm glad I got involved with this.
Exactly.
But, again, that sometimes comes from being able to connect some dots that actually let it be something of significance and quality to you. For an example, if somebody says, oh man, this Fred Hammond concert was fire, mm-hmm. That's going on. Okay, now that can go either way because maybe the sound system is jacked up, mm-hmm. Or maybe it's super hot and it's summertime, right in the middle of summer. Those things can affect my energy, for that event. But I've listened to Fred Hammond's albums. Mm-hmm. I appreciate him as an artist. So I'm still going to be excited. And yeah, those things might be, somewhat of a hindrance. Mm-hmm. But based on my experience and the catalog and the feeling and all that other stuff, those things can trump, it can trump the bad stuff.
I'm glad you said that and used him as an example because somebody hyping up a concert for Fred Hammond who you're familiar with, you probably will believe the hype. Mm-hmm. I'm different as far as somebody hyping up a Frankie Beverly and Maze concert. Now, let me clear this up. I love Frankie Beverly and Maze records. I love to listen to them audio. But I don't ever want to believe anybody that hypes up a Frankie and Beverly concert because I've seen enough live performances to say I wouldn't enjoy this.
Okay.
Because he's probably not going to do a lot of singing because I don't know how much of a voice he has left. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to pay to sing. I don't want to pay a ticket and go and I have to sing. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to watch you direct me singing at your concert.
Okay.
So if anybody come to me and hype up a Frankie and Beverly, man, no.
Who is Frankie and Beverly? Frankie Beverly and Maze? You so mad you can't even call the man's name right.
I'm just saying because we personally have known people who've talked about going to Frankie Beverly and Maze's concert and saying it was a great concert.
I've been to it a couple times.
How was it a great concert? Because I just saw him last year on stage, and that wasn't great.
Well, and so in those instances, and I tie that back into like the example I just gave, sometimes the experience that you have is worth the temporary inconveniences. I guess in this example, his voice. Yes, his voice wasn't pristine by any stretch of the imagination to the concert that I went to, but the songs, the band, the groove, the other stuff make you feel all right. And you feel to the point where you're like, man, I'm singing along so much that I don't even care what he sound like,
I do.
And so but that's the thing though. It's like you're welcome to that opinion, right. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm sure that on some level he knows what he sounds like, but he also knows that, okay, if I can create this feeling, I can get by. And yeah, you may miss out on a few people that say, man, I want to hear the pure 1973 Frankie Beverly and Maze voice. Man, the man is double how old he was when he started off.
No, I mean, I'm realistic now.
Yeah.
Because I know a live performance is going to obviously be different than what you hear on a record.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some.
Yeah, some.
So I'm not like that where I want to hear it just like the record. But I don't want to come to your concert and most of the night you're actually not singing.
Okay,
I
get what you're saying. Yeah.
Then that's like, okay, I could have just watched this on television, and I could have did this at home instead of driving down here, ain't got nowhere to park. You know what I'm saying? These tickets was expensive, and then, you know what I'm saying, all these other elements of things you have to deal with just for somebody to direct me to sing their song. Yeah. I don't want to do that. You know
man, I'm reminded, man, I went to, and I think it was you that gave me the tickets.
I
went to a concert.
I know what you're talking about.
My wife and I went to a concert, and we were so excited initially because he was like, hey, man, I got these tickets and I ain't going to make it so you can have them. Right. And we was like, oh, man, that'd be a great little date night. You know what I'm saying? We can go there. Listen, when I tell you that I think we was in another building We were so we was so high up. We was like on the roof of another building. Like, dude, these were like the worst seats I have ever of any concert ever. Hey, bruh, let me tell you.
Was at the gates of heaven.
Man, listen, we was knocking on heaven's door as high up as we was, bro. I was like, man, they gave us the cloud section. Yeah. Like, you might as well not, even for me, I was like, don't even give these tickets away if this is the experience you're going to give people. Yeah. Because it's like, you know, you got all this other stuff that's going on and, you know, you hear the artists and stuff. I was like, oh, man, bet. Dude, that ruined everything for me. Yeah. I was like, dude, these seats are ridiculous. Like, I don't even know why this arena has an area of seats that are this high up. You can't enjoy nothing in this area.
Man, can you imagine if I would have tried to go?
Bro, you would. I think you would have just throw the tickets down once they tried to teach you and be like, never mind, I don't even want to do it.
How many flights did y'all have to go up?
I lost count.
Yeah.
I don't even know, man.
Like, oh, wow.
I have no idea. I lost count because I was so frustrated that we were still walking after like 10 minutes. I was like, dude, man, I didn't get on this to go on a cardio tour. I'm like, bruh, like, why are we going so high? And when a projector looks like a 42-inch TV, you know you high up. Yeah. I was like, the big TV in the thing looked like a regular living room TV. I was like, dude, I will never accept these tickets from you. So that's one moment where I believe the hype, and I shouldn't have.
Listen, I got the tickets for free.
Yeah.
So I was just, you know, passing it along because I wasn't going to be able to use them. I didn't know those seats were that bad. But it taught me something because once you told me that, I had won some other tickets. And I immediately went to the website to see, where are these seats?
Man.
Because based on what he told me, I need to see what's up with these tickets. And they were in much better seats. And I think I gave them to your wife. And she went to the concert, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to talk about that off camera because I don't remember.
I was winning. Man, I was winning stuff every week. Calling in 98.3. That was a good summer.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and it was like you was winning up some stuff.
I won like 4 times, and I had 3 sets of tickets. I had Ice Cube tickets. I ended up giving those away because I couldn't sell them. And then I had the R&B thing tickets, and then the State Fair tickets for En Vogue and TLC, and I gave all those tickets away.
Wow.
Only thing I kept, I don't think I kept anything. Because it was one thing I wanted. I won a book, but they told me I was winning too much, so I couldn't get the book. So I had to wait 30 days.
That's messed up.
So all the tickets I won, I gave away.
Yeah. Which begs the question, why was you calling for them?
You know, I was just calling because it was something free to win.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I knew I could probably resell them or give them to somebody because, you know,
this is like a habit.
None of those groups were really, you know.
Yeah. You just doing it just to see if you could do it.
Yeah, and I just kept winning, so I'm like, shoot, why not?
Yeah, that don't happen for me. Like at all.
Oh, and I won some tickets to something that they do every year. I can't remember what it's called, but some kind of gathering. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, the gathering.
For women, I gave those away too.
Oh yeah, I would imagine you would have.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the thing for me, man. I've had that experience with a lot of different, you know, concerts or shows or different stuff like that. And for me, man, there's a level of, okay, I give the benefit of the doubt. So even if, you know, the hype is around is either good or bad, I can give the benefit of the doubt. You know, and I think there's a certain area or a certain room for grace, so to speak, that you'll give to things you've had a positive experience with or a good experience with that sometimes can help you stay anchored or centered. And because if you dismiss it too quick, then, you know, you can miss out on something great.
Right.
You know, but, you know, it also, man, life is about, to me, the experience applied. You know, we shouldn't strive to be so much to the point where we run from things just because it's different, but we should also be wise enough to know when to walk away from stuff that constantly keeps on giving the wrong, you know, you know what I mean? I can't word it. The wrong action, so to speak.
You know, I think overall what it is you're going to get some people that hype things up and it's going to work in your favor. You're going to have a great time based on what they tell you. Yeah. And then sometimes you're just going to run into a dead end and like, I'm never doing this again, but it's still something at least you experience. Yeah. Quick story, you know, we used to work for Verizon Wireless and a customer came in and she was so happy with my service because I was in a customer service at the time helping her out. And I noticed that she had on, I guess it's called a gi, martial arts gi. And I asked one question about it. I'm like, you teach a class or you're in a class? And she's like, no, I own a studio. And because I guess my service was so good, she gave me like a free lesson. And it was funny because I was telling my coworkers, like, dude, I'm going to this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to learn Taekwondo. So and she was hyping it up, you know what I'm saying? Making it seem like it was this great thing and, you know, it's a way to exercise and lose weight and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm going to this. You know, it's free. She was talking about it so well, and I remember I went to the class, and it wasn't nothing but a bunch of kids. And I was a grown man, and it was about age 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is weird. And they told me, yeah, that's fine. You can still do the class and still do the lesson. And I'm sitting up here with a bunch of kids in a Taekwondo class. Can you imagine that, man?
Dude, that is hilarious. Yeah. And it's like all I can see in my head.
She hyped it up. Didn't tell me it was for kids.
All I can see in my head is remembering "Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood." When he was in that scene, like reenacting the boys in the hood, and he was knocking the little kids out. That's all I see you in there. Knocking little kids out.
Man.
Just knocking all them little kids out.
Hey, I was in sync with them little kids for like 3 minutes, and then after that, I was like, I'm going to have to sit down.
Oh, you ain't going to match their energy level, man. You ain't going to match their energy level. Yeah, they
sitting on the side like I was a parent or something.
Oh yeah. You basically became a chaperone at that point.
Like, which one is yours? I'm like, no, it's me.
Yeah, you graduated. You graduated to chaperone status because kids will have that full energy.
Yeah.
But you know the thing, and I say this often, man, and I think that we are in again such an interesting time now because we have so much mentally that we have to process. You know that if you're not careful, and that's for me, that is the epitome of what faith does. Faith keeps you anchored. Because for me, man, there's so much that on a daily basis is just constantly trying to sway you or pull you, you know, in some kind of direction or some kind of way. There's so many different things that constantly are trying, like even with, you know, what we're looking at with the election and different stuff. I mean, you see friendships falling apart. You see, you know, all this different, like just we are in such a tumultuous time right now, which is with everything going on. You know, we were talking briefly on the way over here. You know, you have division by race, you have division by class, you have division by society, you have the division by belief. You have so many different ways of division. It's so important to know where you stand, what you stand for, and who you believe in.
Right.
And you know, a lot of things, man, we've gotten wrong throughout the years. You know, and I'm grateful that we are in what you would consider the information age now. Realistically, we can't blame everything and everybody else when now we have resources to be educated and be able to use that education for something that actually can benefit not just our generation but generations to come.
Right, exactly.
And so for me, man, I made a conscious decision to be able to just dabble in a little everything, man. I'm gonna learn some law, learn some, you know, legislative stuff, learn some like different things of that nature, but at the same time work on my finances, work on, you know, credit building, work on, you know, different things, work on business endeavors. You know, I found that when you begin to framework your vision on what God gives you and you begin to actually allow him to put the pieces where they belong, you just do the lifting, then you end up a lot better off than you would be if you just keep on kicking your foot up against the brick.
Right.
And, you know, I think that we are in a moment now during this pandemic, during other stuff, where we got to take a pause and actually realign and be able to actually say, okay, hey, what is my ambition? What is my goal? What am I trying to do or accomplish? Because some of us, like, I have a firm belief, and this is just me. People can get on me if they want to. It's my belief. My belief is that a lot of the things that are happening now in the world are because we tend to not get into the place or the position of where we can to help others. What I mean by that is that a lot of times the inconveniences or the different stuff that we have that have happened to us either emotionally or in whatever way, you know, even sometimes our physical well-being, those things impact us from actually finding purpose. And because we don't find purpose, there's somebody that's suffering that we were connected to or should have been connected to. And as a result, it ends up making everybody miserable together. And so, you know, for me, man, this is an awakening in this moment in time. Like, I'm like, man, what am I doing or what can I do?
Right.
And, you know, I urge like anybody to really just take that assessment of themselves and find and dig a little bit, you know, to be comfortably uncomfortable, you know, and really get to the point where it's like, okay, man, I don't have to be what society labels me. I don't have to be what, you know, these people say that I am. I actually am this, and I'm going to prove it or I'm going to show it, you know, and I would love to see that be the approach that people would take during this time, even for the rest of 2020, man. Match that energy, you know, find that energy to say, man, I started off, you know, on fire. I know some things happened, you know, that tripped me up along the way, but I'm actually trying to reconnect and actually be better off than I was before.
Right.
You know, and I think it's absolutely vital sometimes, man, to shut down the outer influences. You know, quality time to self is priceless.
Oh, it is.
You know, and a lot of times, you know, and I said this to somebody I was talking to. This is a struggle for some people who have found validation in escapism. Mm-hmm. You know, people that have found validation in being able to get away from what they're in or not encountering or facing it head on. You know, they've been able to get away, and now a lot of people are falling apart because now they are challenged with having to actually stand and face these giants that they were able to escape from or get away from before. Mm-hmm. And my thing is that, man, you never know how strong you are till you actually don't have no option but to stand up and overcome it.
Exactly.
And I want everybody to kind of grab hold of that, man. You know, this show is about a lot of stuff, man. You know, we get deep, you know, we get, you know, fun, we get all kinds of stuff. But, you know, on the deep tip, like really, I want people to take that assessment, man, and really find what it is that they might be challenged in and push in that challenge. You know, because a lot of times what I found that challenge is doing is actually building up your endurance for something else.
Exactly.
You know, and we've got to be wise enough to understand that and be able to go hard in that.
I like that. You know, like you said, this whole year has forced us to do some things that a lot of us don't like to do. Mm-hmm. A lot of us have never done, and that's just sit still and reflect.
Right.
And I really believe, personally for me, that it's been great. Mm-hmm. And I think this is probably one of the most important years, if not the most important year of my life that I can think of. And not, you know what I'm saying, to say that other events in my life were not as important, but just the overall feel of what we had to go through, what we had to endure together, seeing a world that we never saw before, you know what I'm saying, and learning how we can adjust in that world, but more importantly, just finding out who we were, who we are, I should say, and then being able to come out of this situation being better.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I don't know what the world's going to look like once all of this is behind us. You know, I don't know if it ever go back to what it was before.
Yeah, and I don't think it should.
You know, I just know me, I'm not going to ever be the same again.
Yeah.
And it's because I had to take those months to really just reflect on some things I never even thought about.
Right.
And find out who I am. And now that I know that and I'm learning that, I got to continue in that.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
You know, don't be afraid to sit down and do that, people. You know what I'm saying? Take the time to learn who you are during this time and find out what it is that you should be doing. And if you ain't doing it, start doing it.
For real, like right away. Yeah. And
it's
you know,
important.
You mentioned something, man. It's like, you know, we I think are on the cusp of something that is different than we've ever experienced before, and I'm for it. I'm here for it.
Right.
You know, we have to. I mean, from inside out, man, just do a lot of deep cleaning. You know, when it comes down to stuff, because you know, for a while we've believed the hype of what, you know, America has labeled us as. We believe the hype of what, you know, certain classes of people or groups of people have done. Now we have the opportunity to change that narrative. You know, we have the opportunity to band together, you know, as a people, as a culture, you know, for all of us that have now started developing, and we said this before, you know, people that are exceeding or succeeding, you know, reach back and help others along the way. You know, that has to be a constant thing, not just in the face of adversity.
Right.
I think we do a job of being able to be on the front lines when things are right in front of our face, but behind the scenes is where we're going to get the most work done.
Right.
So even while the spotlight ain't always going to be shining on there, it's on us right now. And while it's on us, we take full advantage and really get to the point of being able to build something that's sustainable. You know, and so that when things seem like they would settle back down, we've completely shifted the power shift.
Right.
You know, and that's what I feel, man. I'm appreciative to people like, you know, I saw, I think, Killer Mike, you know, starting a black bank.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like a huge waiting list already. You know, that's iconic because the reason behind it is the fact that a lot of times, you know, when it comes down to getting funding or financed or lending, you know, that's something that's not there. But on the flip side, somebody else needs to be in place that also says, okay, let's teach. And I applaud the people that have been doing that behind the scenes. It's not saying nobody has. But with that, let's build our communities up with knowledge, with information, teach people how to financially spend and, you know, be there. And a lot of times, man, I ain't going to hold you, like, black folks, we don't want nobody touching our money.
Oh, yeah.
You know, period.
Right.
And we seldom want to spend on stuff because we figure we could do it ourselves.
Right.
But I'm telling y'all, my people, my folks, we have to sometimes spend a little bit of money to get some knowledge and some information. Sometimes it takes you spending a little money to get your credit right. It takes you spending a little money to get an expert or a consultant or somebody that does this for a living. You know, it takes us, a little bit of sacrifice to be able to actually say, okay, hey, if I can better my situation or learn this thing, there are things online, different creative outlets and stuff like that you can invest a little bit of money in. You know, like you even found like with some writing software, different stuff. Sometimes you got to invest a little bit in the stuff in order to actually give it a shot and produce something that you never have before.
Right.
You know, so don't just put your money in the mattress, and just figure that, okay, it's all right as long as it's there. But make that money work for you. And I want to kind of veer here when it comes down to a biblical reference. You know, one of my favorite stories in the Bible is the parable of the talents. And it talks about, the one that had the most, and then the second one that had the second most. They used those talents to create more than what they started off with. And then the one that had the least buried it out of fear of what would happen. But the thing that I found in that story that we sometimes don't highlight is that the whole fact of how that person got to the 5 talents and the 2 talents is they proved they were faithful at one point with the one, and it increased. And we never highlight that part of it. But at some point, they started off with a little. It wasn't just, I'm going to give you this, this, and this. It's they proved themselves that they were actually capable of doing something with the talent. And I want to be the person that shows that, okay, based on the skills, the abilities, the talents that I have, I do something with them, and that it results in other people being well off as well, not just me.
Right.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. Get it? So, yeah, man, I think overall, again, we appreciate everybody tuning in, but, we need the help of the people, when it comes down to different items and things of support and being able to push this. We ain't stopping. I ain't stopping like nonstop. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whether we got one person tuning in, 100 people tuning in, whatever the case, I'm not swayed on that because some things take a while to catch fire.
Right, exactly.
But the good thing is that if you're consistent in what you do, at some point, it gets the push that it needs.
Exactly.
And so we do appreciate everybody that has been tuning in, that's been supporting. My word for you for tonight is just don't believe the hype. Don't get caught up so much in what any and everything says that you lose your own voice, that you forget how to be able to stand for something, that you forget how to actually be able to push past what's uncomfortable and push past what the status quo is to actually burn your own lane. I don't want to be the next anything. I'd rather be the first. You know what I'm saying? And so with that said, we signing off for tonight. I have been John.
It's Tony Cole.
And this has been another week of A Long Way from Sunday. Have a good night.
Peace.